Hello, and welcome to the Dads of Adventure podcast. Today, we're going to have a quick episode. We're coming up on July 4th. This episode should be released on the morning of July 4th. So happy Independence Day and happy July 4th, however you happen to say it. And we want to celebrate that. We're going to just talk a little bit about it and some of how that relates to Disney. And yeah, we're just going to celebrate the 4th today. So again, happy 4th, happy Independence Day, and we'll get started here. So just to get started, you can find us at dadsofadventure.com. That's where you can sign up for the newsletter, and you can get set up for our membership. So our membership includes getting a chance to talk with fellow Disney dads, positive Disney dads who are sharing their life experiences through the language of Disney. So join that. It also includes there's different levels, but there's levels that include that, and then there's levels that include the just information side of things on tip on information on how to successfully have a positive Disney trip. So that is available. Come join us. We'd love to have you and be a part of that and talking with other fellow positive Disney dads. And you can also find us on social media at Dads of Adventure through Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So join us there, and you can also we're on TikTok, but we have a few things there, but not sure where that's going yet. But it could be big by the time you watch this. I don't know. If you're listening on your favorite podcast app, you can also see this on video format at the DreamsMagicAdventure YouTube channel. So please subscribe there. If you're watching it, go ahead and subscribe. And if you want to hear it on podcast form and take it with you, you can hear this on all your favorite podcast apps, including Spotify and most recently iHeartRadio as well. So I think that wraps up that portion of things. So let's go ahead and get started with the show. Just wanted to go over a few things that were related to just kind of America, Walt Disney's love of America, and how that shines through in some of his actions, some of the things that we see at the parks, and outside of that, I have always loved Fourth of July, celebrating America, and just the regardless of what is going on in America. America was founded through many trials and adversity, and in order to gain our independence. So that's what Fourth of July is. That's what Independence Day is all about, is celebrating that independence as a country, and whatever's going on, we can always come back to that. And our independence as a country, as the United States of America. So, getting more to kind of some of the things that, defines how Disney saw America. He was a great supporter of America in many, many, many ways. And you can see that throughout, he was excited about it. You can see that throughout his actions, throughout his life, and through the things he did, through things that followed after that were in the tradition of, even today, that are continuing to be done based on that tradition of celebrating America that Walt Disney inspired. So, just one of the earlier things, and there may have been earlier stuff too, but back in World War One, Disney wanted to be a part of that, and being, he was a little bit too young to be in some of the, the army or other places like that. So, but he wanted to be involved because he wanted to take part in, fighting for America. So I think there were some, I don't have all the history here with me, but you can definitely find that there's some great podcast episodes on the Walt Disney World Family Museum podcast about that. So I would definitely check those out. But one of the things that he tried to do is join the ambulance corps. So, he couldn't, again, fight with um, the other, like the army or, other armed forces. So he and a buddy, and I don't have the buddy's name, but they joined the ambulance corps. So he would like be driving folks around and driving this ambulance around. Mainly, I think in France was where he was mainly located. But again, you can find all the history on that in a number of places. But just wanted to point out, kind of that, that beginnings of that. And then we come to, we'll skip a lot of years here, and I'm sure there's more examples there, but then we come to World War II. Before America was involved with World War II, Walt Disney was invited by the government to do a goodwill trip down to South America, and so there was this whole thing is documented in a documentary that's on Disney Plus right now called El Grupo, and it is very interesting. There's some about kind of their trip, how that worked out, like just different feelings that people had when they were down there, but basically they were supposed to be on a diplomatic mission for goodwill, heading down, representing the United States in South America, because in South America there was some division on what kind of what side of World War II they were on. There were some sympathizers with the with the Nazi Party. There was people that supported the Allies too. So it wasn't, and what you find through that documentary, and I won't ruin that if you want to check that out. It's a fairly long documentary, but it was very good, a very good documentary, and it really had a lot of information about how they just did their thing. They went down there, like some of the, if you're into like some of the Imagineers and artists and know some of the names, like Frank Thomas and Mary Blair, and just a number of others that you would probably recognize their names. They went down as a group to South America on this diplomatic mission and just did a whole bunch of stuff. So that is a big part of it, and they don't really talk about like what the full impact was of that, but while they were down there, Pearl Harbor was invaded, so it was really real stuff that they were dealing with, and I think that Walt Disney being an ambassador for that just kind of speaks to his love for America, that he go down there and do that. And there were a few movies that came out of that, including The Three Caballeros and Saludos Amigos. But their main mission was a diplomatic mission to go down there and make sure that, and try to win over the public's opinion towards the Allies. So we'll move on a little bit from that, just getting to America's bicentennial. There was, a big celebration of that when we went in, going into the parks. In Disneyland, there was a plan for like an America Street at one point, and there was definitely that didn't end up happening, but there were some things that celebrated like the bicentennial. There was America on Parade, which had parades, I believe, both in Disney World and Disneyland. I might be wrong on that. I'm pretty sure they were in Disney World. Um, and you can see some of the pictures of that. Um, I mean, you can see them, on different websites and things around. But some of it was like some paper mache um, heads of characters. Some of it was a little bit frightening, I would say, but it was definitely something where they wanted to celebrate the bicentennial, and so those parades were going on. You can see some pictures of that in the Pop Century Resort. If you look behind the front desk at the Pop Century, there's some pictures of that parade back there, among other places that you can find it, of course. And part of that celebration also brought about an attraction called America Sings. So this is kind of in Tomorrowland, in Disneyland, and it's a attraction that went through a number of different scenes around America, and all of the tons of animatronics singing songs about America and just celebrating America. Yeah, that's what it was all about. And the eventually, that ran for like 10, almost 10 years or more, I think. Yep. And it eventually, in the reimagining of Tomorrowland, that went away, but it was there for a long time. And eventually, the animatronics did get reused. So if you want to go visit those animatronics, they got reused for Splash Mountain, which I know that's about to get renovated too. But some of the animatronics that are there, um, there's some direct ones that went straight to Splash Mountain, and some I believe that were kind of reskinned. So the spirit of them is there, and I assume they'll probably reuse some of those, in the reimagining of Splash Mountain too. So that will, so they may live on there too. So you may see the America Sings characters, or you may not actually see them, but I'm gonna guess there's gonna be some nod to those America Sings characters, because some were just directly brought in from the America Sings attraction directly to the Splash Mountain attraction. And we talked and just mentioned America Street. So one of the things. Oh, I'm going back a little bit. So before Disney World, wanted to just get back to kind of like Walt's vision of this. And at one point, there was a plan to do a riverfront square in Missouri, in St. Louis. And, there were lots of plans about it. And there was going to be like a Lewis and Clark expedition type attraction, where you learn the history of Lewis and Clark and their expeditions across America to map out America and their journeys doing that. And the so it sounded like it was going to be really cool. It didn't end up happening, but that again, that just kind of speaks to how much Disney liked America. And I almost forgot, I didn't write this down as one of my items to talk about, but there was a time when Disney was set to do like the opening celebration for the Olympics, when it was in the U.S. And I'm forgetting the year, and you folks that are doing history will, I'm sure, be shouting at the screen here. So my apologies. I didn't write that down beforehand, but just wanted to mention it. Otherwise, I'd have some more information about it. But that was kind of a cool addition to it as well. That the Olympic Committee would trust Disney to come up with those opening ceremonies. And while so lots of things that um, that they were trying to do, and things that were related to America. So that brings us a little bit farther into present. Liberty Square was all ideas that come from Disney Imagineering, Disney himself. Um, they don't die. They come back in other formats sometimes. So Liberty Square was kind of from what America Street was going to be. We now have Liberty Square in Walt Disney World in Magic Kingdom, which I love. Liberty Square. It's just a great place to be. Um, the Hall of Presidents was something that was originally thought of by Disney. He had great moments with Mr. Lincoln, which again is another example. How that's right on Main Street in Disneyland. But he always thought of how could he bring something that celebrated the presidency of America. He wasn't celebrating like necessarily a particular president or but he wanted to celebrate his country, and that's what the Hall of Presidents is all about: is celebrating the country, the presidency, and just um, the things that have come through the years as we've had to deal with them as a country. So that is they've got the Hall of Presidents there, um, and Columbia Harbor House, which a tip that I have is there's great upstairs seating area there. If you're looking for a place to that's a little quieter, but I love that. Everything around there. The the riverboat. You can head out on the riverboat. You've got Tom Sawyer Island, which I think is celebrates America in itself, and the American Frontierland is right next to it. So you're kind of heading into Frontierland from there. If you've never been over to Tom Sawyer Island, I definitely recommend it. It's definitely an American adventure in itself. And one of my favorites in Liberty Square is Liberty Tree Tavern. So we try to go there on occasion. It's one of those all you care to eat, which it was not a buffet, but you can pick the items that you want, and that are part of this meal. You can also order off the menu. I think some people don't realize they can do that, but you can order off the menu directly. But all you care to eat. And one of the cool things is beyond just the atmosphere there and the celebration of history is the fact that the crowns are only red and blue. So and there's a little space where kids can color like patriotic Disney characters and things like that. So I really love that. And of course the red and blue crowns. And in Liberty Square, although this is something that is a past attraction, but we're talking about past attractions, great moments in history with the Muppets. Was there for a while, and that was pretty cool to catch. And there were a couple shows, so you didn't necessarily get the same thing every time, but it was celebrating different parts of American history. The Muppets would come out of the buildings windows up in Liberty Square, and Sam Eagle was definitely a part of it because he represents and loves America, and represents all countries, but mostly America, I would say. And that I'm sure is inspired by the fact that they're in there's a big fireworks celebration at the end of Muppet Vision 3D where Sam Eagle is in charge. If you go into the pre-show for Muppet Vision 3D, there's lots of like patriotic Sam Eagle stuff and some of the props that you can check out. And um, again, just love Liberty Square, love just everything about it. Um, so just check out a lot of the details when you're there. There's the old Christmas shop, which is fun. There's the there's a lot of details, and I won't reveal them all because they're great to find on your own. But check out some of the details. Look around you instead of it's easy to go through Liberty Square to get to something else. So check out those details when you're there next time. When you get on the riverboat, you can hear some history from Mark Twain, and so that's about it for Liberty Square. Although there's lots more that we could talk about. But I will move on to just some of the other celebrations that are there in Walt Disney World. So some of these are past, some of these are present. Some of these aren't happening this year because of everything going on. But still want to celebrate them because they are pretty awesome, and I'm sure they'll return as soon as we can get back to them. Some of them not because they were the last time that happened. But if you have, there's a lot of things that are celebrated in the Great American Experience, in the American Pavilion. There are the Voices of Liberty that are there, and singing regularly, but especially on the 4th of July, they have special shows. Well, they'll do that in the American Gardens Theater, and I think, beyond being inside the American Experience, and the show that's there. If you haven't ever done that, is a longer show. Some folks use it as a nap, but and I can't claim that I haven't fallen asleep because it is a dark theater in there, but nice air conditioning, so the conditions are present for that. But I love that show, The Great American Adventure, and it is one of the only places where you can see an animatronic that climbs stairs. So that is a pretty cool aspect of that ride beyond celebrating America. Um, and they just opened the Regal Eagle um, barbecue place in Epcot for that's been tried that out right before everything got shut down, and that was really good. I'm still deciding like what sauces I like there because there's a number of them, which I like the fact that they did that. But I passing by like some of the plates. There's most you're going to be part of the Clean Plate Club, most likely when you go there. And one thing I will also give to that pavilion, just as a side note here, they have some of the best bathrooms in there. Very air conditioned, a little off the beaten path because you have to go back into the pavilion to get to them. Very large quantity of bathrooms too. So they are they probably be on my top five. They're just nice, clean bathrooms. Anyway, but things also that are celebrated kind of throughout on a regular basis. The flag retreat ceremony that happens every day in Magic Kingdom at the end of the day. So that is something you can check out regularly. That's pretty cool to be there. And then there's at the end of the electric water pageant, which is the floating parade that goes past the front of the Magic Kingdom and to many of the monorail and just Magic Kingdom area resorts. At the end has a very patriotic ending to it. That you can catch. I have posted about that before. So check that out if you'd like. And then getting to, let's see, yeah, just how Disney celebrates on the 4th of July. Yeah, they are planning for so many people to come in on the 4th of July that on Disney World side, that they actually have fireworks on the 3rd also. Um, so and it's a special fireworks show. It's called the Disney. I wrote this down so I can make sure I get the whole thing right. But it's Disney's Celebrate America, a 4th of July concert in the sky is the full title of the fireworks show at Magic Kingdom. And again, it's on the 3rd and the 4th, and it has a 360 fireworks view as well. So, if you're at one of the like monorail resorts, you can see like the full 360 fireworks, which is a cool view, which might possibly, I don't know, I'm trying to decide. Yeah, on YouTube, that might possibly be part of the image on YouTube. But there's great pictures of the castle. Like, there's um, lots of great image mapping of the castle now, and projection shows and things like that. But there are just some basic like stars and stripes projections on the castle. Some of the fountains are lit up in red, white, and blue. Um, throughout the park. Um, you know, they do have celebrations in other parts of the park, like Frontierland as well. Um, but those fireworks are something to be seen. Even more so than the um, the awesome fireworks that happen every night there. That that will be um, that will not see this year, and we'll see when fireworks come back. But when you do get a chance to see them, if you're listening to this a year later and preparing for that, hopefully they will be back because that is a sight to see. They also have those at Disneyland just um, on 4th of July. Um, and once that reopens next year, we'll hopefully get to see those again. And one thing that they also had, and I think this was kind of to draw crowds away, but it was something I wanted to see, but I never got a chance to, like the timing just wasn't ever right to see it. But at Epcot, they had, when Illuminations was still there, they had what was called the Heartbeat of Freedom, um, special fireworks show. So it was, in addition to um, Illuminations. So they had that just on the 4th. So it was possible that you could see both at that time, but again, timing just didn't quite work out to see those. But again, and that's a fair warning to when something is there that you like and you want to see, go see it, because it might be gone the next year. You never know. But hopefully they'll come back with something. I can't imagine they won't. Again, with kind of crowd control, they won't come back with some sort of tagline, additional fireworks show celebrating America on the 4th, because that was the big thing at Epcot to have that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. A lot to work through before they get to that. They're already like planning the new fireworks show at Epcot, and putting together in mid Epcot Forever. So I don't know what the fireworks are going to look like when they do come back at Epcot, but we shall see, and I'm sure they'll be awesome either way. And just additional celebrations throughout the resorts and everything. I was reading about Disneyland having like a special barbecue on one of the rooftop hotel restaurants. So that sounded pretty awesome. Wish I could attend that. But then in Fort Wilderness is we got to experience Fort Wilderness on the 4th, which there's a podcast. There's a 2 podcast episodes because I couldn't fit it into one about that. Um, if you go back and listen to some of the earlier podcasts, and we have a whole video kind of detailing Fort Wilderness on the 4th on our YouTube channel, Dreams Magic Adventure YouTube channel. So check that out too. Kind of gives a visual to all of that. But it was, there was more stuff to do than we could possibly do. There's always more stuff to do than you can possibly do at Fort Wilderness. But I'll just kind of, recap a few things. One of the things was a golf cart parade. So that was awesome. So many people involved. So many people. They had Mickey and Minnie in there. They brought out like the Main Street marching bands was part of it, but mainly it was people that just like went all out decorating their golf carts for the 4th of July. When you're staying there during 4th of July, like a lot of the cabins are decorated. I didn't get a chance to go through as many of like the RV loops, but on other holidays I know like Halloween and Christmas, those are super decorated. So I'm sure they were for that as well. And, it's just a great experience. It definitely feels like America over there in Fort Wilderness during that time. I'll miss it this year since there's not an opportunity to get to do that. But that was a great experience when we experienced it last year. And, beyond the golf cart parade, I believe there was a pet parade too, which some of these things are things that they also do for other holidays like Christmas time. But they had just decorations that were around on the 4th of July. There's a big celebration at the beach, Clementine Beach, which they have kind of moved that a little bit with the construction that they were doing on the new hotel that was going to be there. Not sure if that's going forward now with that, but so we'll see what happens there. But what was Clementine Beach, and they had like they moved all the. Normally they have like Chippendales campfire sing along where you can do s'mores. So they moved that and had like National Treasure showing on a movie screen, and you could sit on the beach and watch the Magic Kingdom fireworks and get the 360 view from there as well. And they piped in the music. They didn't pipe in the music to our side of the beach, so I'll be interested to see how they do that in the future. One thing that you want to check when you are trying to view some of the fireworks from some of the beaches around, when you get to that point, just for any fireworks show, is that certain, pay attention to where the speakers are, because there aren't speakers everywhere along some of those beaches. So you may not get the actual music if you're not in those areas. But anyway, awesome views regardless, and that was, a great experience there. There was like watermelon seed spitting contest, I believe, and I believe there was like a pot. I may be making this up and just trying to throw this into general, Americana. I think there was like a pie eating contest and things like that. But they brought the RV that they have over by Chippendale's campfire experience over, to provide food as well. So there were just a lot of things that you could potentially be doing on 4th of July, and so it's a great experience. Awesome time to be there, and we loved it. So I will end with that. I believe we've covered all the things, but again, just happy 4th of July. Thank you to all folks that have served our country, and we can't thank you enough for that. Just and or people who have relatives who have served our country. We appreciate the fact that they have served and give us the freedom and the independence that we have today. And we celebrate you know sometimes take that for granted as a country, that we just have freedom as a country. And so that's what there's barbecues, there's hot dogs, and I love all those things too. So don't get me wrong, but and the fireworks, but that is what it ultimately comes down to, is the founding of our country, and the independence that we get to enjoy because of the thoughts and minds and sacrifices and ideas of so many people, including our founding fathers. So I will end it on that. And again, check out our website for Dads of Adventure, dadsofadventure.com. Join the membership, sign up for the newsletter, and you can find us on social media at Dads of Adventure on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And you can also find us on your favorite podcast app, and again, including now iHeartRadio and Spotify. And you can also find us on YouTube at DreamsMagicAdventure. So for that, we'll sign off today. And again, happy 4th, happy Independence Day. Thank you for everyone who has sacrificed or has family members that have sacrificed to give us the freedoms and the independence that we have as a country today. And with that, go have an adventure with your family. Stay safe.